Hey, welcome, it's Cassie. Today we're gonna make some fake pretzel rods for Easter, and they're gonna be nice, pretty pastel colors, and I think you're gonna love them. So let's get started. So the first thing we're gonna do is roll out the pretzel rods. So I'm using Modelite. You can use any kind of foam clay you like, Model Magic. There are lots of other like off brands or whatever. Condition your clay. We're going to roll this out into a pretzel rod. Pretzel rods are typically about 7.5 inches long, just in case you want to know that and make sure you get your measurements right. So what I'm going to do is just on one end, I'm going to cut a little bit off, and this is going to be the end that's going to show, because they kind of look like that, kind of like pinched off and flat. So that's going to be the end that shows, and then this end doesn't matter. We're going to be covering that anyway. So there's your pretzel rod. You're going to want to let that dry. I let mine dry overnight, so I have a few here that we can use today. So what I'm going to do to make this easier to paint these and stuff, I'm going to put toothpicks into the end. And when you take the toothpick out, you really can't see much of a hole anyway, so it won't be noticeable. Okay, so for the color, I'm just going to use a little paper cup to mix my paint. And I'm going to be using pumpkin orange and territorial beige from Apple Barrel. So I'm going to start out with the orange. I'm not going to put too much. I don't want it to be too orangey, and I can always add more if I need to. And then I'm going to add some of the territorial beige. And I've tried to get this color as true to the real color as possible. A couple of things before we get started. So I have just a piece of styrofoam. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my pretzel rods and just stick them in here to dry. For the salt, I bought this bath soak at Dollar Tree, and I thought this was going to be perfect for because it's like chunky crystals. I thought it was going to be perfect, but it actually was a little bit too chunky. So I just took it and put it in a plastic bag, and I tapped it with a hammer until I broke it down further. They also sell fake salt on Etsy, but it's kind of pricey. So, I mean, I got that big old thing of bath soak for $1. So I'm adding some Mod Podge to my paint because the pretzel needs to look kind of shiny. So if you have gloss paint, you could use gloss paint and that would work just the same. But I'm just using my regular acrylic paints and then just adding the Mod Podge to make it shiny. And this will also help hold the salt on as well. So we're going to paint the bottom like third to half of the pretzel. You don't need to do the top part because we're going to be putting decorations up there. So just do the bottom part. And then while this is wet, I'm going to take some of my fake salt and just sprinkle that on. And then I'm just going to put it in my styrofoam to dry. So while those pretzels are drying, we'll mix up our caulk mixture. So I'm going to do, I have some white already mixed up. I'm going to do pink and purple as well. So I'm just putting my caulk into my container, and then I'm going to add my paint and some Mod Podge. And then I'm going to stir these around really well. I have some sandwich bags here. I'm going to cut the tops off of these to use for the drizzle. You can leave the top on, but it just gets in my way, so I like to take it off. So I'm going to start with my purple, and I'm just going to put that into one of my sandwich bags. And then I'm just pressing all the caulk mixture down into one of the corners. And then when it's pressed down there, you'll be able to see a corner that doesn't have any caulk in it. You can just snip off that tip and just do the very tiniest little bit so that not too much will come out at once. And then I'm going to take one of my pretzels and I'm going to start coating this using my bag. So I'm just kind of using the tip of my bag to spread it around. Now, if your salt seems like it's not wanting to stay on, you can coat it with some Mod Podge. And I would advise coating it with Mod Podge if you're going to be moving it around a lot or anything like that. I know some people have left comments saying that they have like a bakery and they want to use these as like their fake food displays. So for that, I would definitely do this extra coat of Mod Podge just to hold your salt on there, so you don't have to worry about it falling off later. I'm laying my pretzels on my wax paper to dry. If you want to make these double-sided, then you would just need to do one side at a time, because I tried standing these up in my styrofoam and it just like fell over, flopped over. So also standing them up in something, they're gonna continue to drip, so you don't want it dripping down further than where you want it to be. So these are sprinkles that I made, and I have a video showing how to make different sprinkles. If you haven't seen it yet, you should check it out. So for this pink one, I have these little beads that I bought off of Amazon, and I will link to these for you in case you're interested in getting some for yourself. So I'm just turning these to the side when I'm putting the sprinkles on so that I can get it on the sides as well, so that it doesn't look like it's not covered, you know, so that it doesn't look like it's just one side. Now I thought I'll try another way than the bag and just see what's easier. So I'm going to just try spreading this on with my knife, my plastic knife. Kind of putting it on there thick. And then just spreading it. I always like to have options of ways to do things, because what works for one person doesn't always work for another. So I like to give you guys options too if I can. I actually feel like this way is a little bit easier for me. So you can see what you think. So for this one, I'm going to do some drizzle on it. I'm going to go in with my pink as well. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.